Hey, Prathiba, it's nice to meet you in the studio. Welcome,
Nice
welcome.
to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me, Alex. Thank you.
So, I planned to make such an episode for a long time as we met several months ago. And we had very pleasant conversation. And I watched your TEDx talk on YouTube. So it is my pleasure and I'm honored to have you in my studio. And I ask you to please be so kind as to describe your path, your life path, how you shaped your personality, starting from your childhood, please, if it's possible.
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me. And that's a very interesting question. One of my most favorite questions also to talk about my childhood. I had an amazing childhood. I think amazing is an understatement for that because I was surrounded by a super supportive family growing up, and there were no limitations to what I can achieve in my life. So, my family had just one mantra. They used to just tell me, go for it, whatever it is. And I had an amazing support system, to say the least, And I suppose the person I am today, I have to give credit to my family in the first place because if they didn't identify my skill set at the right time, I don't think I would have implemented that in my adulthood rather than wasting, like 30, 40 years of my life and then thinking, oh, this is my talent. But I'm very grateful, extremely grateful to my family and to God, for blessing me with such a positive environment. And it's because of my family that I am here today as well. And I would give them the credit.
So, what superpowers did they find out in you as a child? And could you tell a bit more about kind of education that you got, school, location, and maybe some peculiarities of the system?
Sure. So, first things first, I think it's a give and take to recognize talent, right? You can't just recognize talent. It's not some kind of a magic. And I think the upbringing that my family had given me, especially my father, who used to buy a lot of videotapes as well as books for me to watch and to widen my imagination and my horizon. I think he identified that I love to read, I love to speak, and I would say not a complete extrovert, but I love to create conversations. I love to engage in meaningful conversations. And right from that time, he used to tell me that, you're going to be a wonderful speaker one day. I don't know when, but you're going to be that. And God bless his soul, he's no more today. But still, I remember him before every stage that I step onto because he's more like my guardian angel, to say the least. And I suppose it's those small things of positivity that he ingrained in me that I wanted to take this as a full-time career. But, obviously life turns out in that way as well. So I suppose universe was very kind. Coming back to the second question which you asked me, I was educated in India, in Chennai. So I did my school and my university in Chennai. I am an aeronautical engineer and I did my MBA. And I have my double majors. Actually, I did my business administration masters as well as my advanced French masters as well. So I have like dual masters, and I did this with juggling my full-time job in Chennai. And I would suppose I can say that, I started doing this multitasking thing right from I started my full-time job, my first job in 2016. It's been a whirlwind, and I thank you so much for asking this question because it sort of reminds me of the journey of how far I've come, and introspection goes a long way. So thank you so much for asking that question.
Do you remember some story from the past? Maybe could you do some storytelling? What shaped your personality apart from help from your father, but maybe something in school or university that helped you in your life?
I think even the kind of people that I was surrounded by, because in my school, they used to give me lots of opportunities to take part in elocution and speech competition as well. Whether I win or not, that's a different story. It's not about winning, it's more about participation. So I would enroll myself in anything and everything that comes by my way. It might be a very small thing or it might be even a huge thing. But the fact that they gave me that opportunity and the fact that I was surrounded by my classmates who are also in the same mindset that you shouldn't let your marks, like your subjects, decide your identity. You should have something apart from your textbooks. And I would say that played a whole new part in my perspective, and that's how I've even grown into an adult. So I would say, to anyone listening to this podcast as well, whether you're in university or whether you're starting out, just whatever opportunity comes your way, say yes to it. Whether you win or not, it doesn't matter. Just go for it, because you might think that there's no reason for that, but down the line, it will definitely shape you into a person that you are bound to become in the future. So every step of my journey has contributed to the person that I'm today, right from kindergarten to university,
Yeah, thank you. I think that you went through a lot in India. I don't know what is the city. What is it pronounced? The city?
Chennai.
Chennai.
Chennai. So it's the capital of Tamil Nadu. It's in
Tamil
South
Nadu.
India. Yeah.
It's South India. I've never been to South India. I've been to Central India. I've been to North of India, to Himalayan, to Uttar Pradesh, to Madhya Pradesh, and also I went to Bengal, to West Bengal, to Mayapur. So Navadvip, Mayapur. So I know this part, and I think that the northern part, so the central part is a lot of hastiness, a lot of rush, I think, around Delhi, New Delhi. But in Himalaya, it's more relaxed. But I hear from my friends that the southern India is even more cultural, with a lot of traditions, a lot of wisdom. And so you have a lot of opportunities to study and to learn not only modern education, but also traditional. So what can you tell about this juncture of traditional versus modern in southern India?
Well, the place I've been brought up in, Chennai, right? It's the perfect mix of tradition and modernism, to say the least, because in one part of Chennai, you have temples, you have churches. On the other side, obviously, you have nightclubs, you have parties. And I think, for a person, in my opinion, whether I don't want to comment on what kind of culture they follow, what kind of religion that they follow, any religion, because I'm someone who prays to all gods. I don't follow a particular religion. And if you want to engross yourself in culture, there are lots of temples. I think spirituality is something which was ingrained to me right from a very young age. I remember this trip, because my family, they are deeply religious. When I was young, I used to feel like they were crazy because they used to take us to 10 temples a day. And it made me so burnt out that I was like, I'm not going to temples at all, because I feel like an abnormal, child, because you're not taking me to all the cool places. You're only taking me to religious places. But little did I know that those kinds of exposure actually, it calms your mind. You start to broaden your thinking rather than just thinking in a narrow-minded way. And to be in such kind of an environment, it's such a blessing. It's not just Chennai, if you go to the United States, you go to Australia, you go to Singapore, you come to United Arab Emirates as well. You have mosque, you have a spirituality center here where you can just sit and meditate, because it's one thing to be spiritual and another thing to take it all in, because you don't have to be a follower of any religion, but you just have to understand that there is a higher source above all of us, and they call it God, they call it the universe, they call it the messengers. It's called by different names, but ultimately there's a power outside of our talent as well. So you can't just say that if a person is successful, it's entirely because of their talent. It's 99% maybe because of their talent, 1% because of, the force which guides them. And I truly believe in that, and I still carry it with me, and I will carry it, to the rest of my life as well.
Yeah, this I mentioned that you go 10 temples a day. You can imagine this. I went to India 3 times, and I had a lot of positive and a little negative, but mostly positive experience, and a lot of great adventures, and visiting a lot of temples. So I've been to Vrindavan, which is a city of 5,000 temples, they call it. And it maybe grew 10 times since I visited first time, because it's like now it's like megapolis. When I first arrived in 1995, it was like a village, but now I went 10 years ago, it was a large city with a lot of big temples and a lot of investment. But I want to switch to more another kind of communication, which is language. So you mentioned that you had majored in French. and you also you
Mm-hmm.
speak many languages. So can you tell me
Yeah.
how this helped you? What was your practice? What is your
Mm-hmm.
approach to learn a new language, and how
Mm-hmm.
it helped you to grow your outreach, to grow new networks? You speak French, you speak English, you speak Indian languages. So what else? How this helps you in your life?
Absolutely. So I'm going to tell something which is very contradictory because, people assume that you need to go enroll yourself in a university or a language school to study languages. But I did the opposite. I used to watch a lot of movies, series. Now we call it a series, but over there it was shows like serials, soap operas, and mainly music videos. You know what I would do? Every movie that I watch, whether it's in French or German or Spanish, I would turn on the subtitles. And once I would watch the movie with English subtitles so that I understand the storyline. And second time, I would watch it with the language that they are speaking. So if it's a French movie, the subtitles would be in French. And I would note down, the phonetics, like the pronunciation of it, the meanings of it, because now I know the story. And I have a notebook where I keep writing everything down. So I'm pretty old school in this way. I don't use phones, I don't use tablets, I don't use, Audible or anything to read or to point out any notes because I practice everything through pen and paper. And I used to carry a pocket dictionary, but thankfully now we have, a smartphone with us, which can give us everything in an instant, right? So at that time, I used to watch a lot of movies because I don't know which is a good review, which is a bad review. Whatever is available in India at that time, I used to watch. And precisely, I would say that during my school days as well, whatever movies I'm watching, I would write that in my English class. Like there was a period in my class where they would just say write down whatever movie that you saw or something which sparked in you, and that actually gave me a kind of an innovative edge because people assumed that I was way out of imagination. I was giving out new ideas, but honestly speaking, I was just writing a summary of a movie. And I understood that this is something which I really love doing because you tell me to watch 10 movies a day, I'll definitely watch it because that's been a kind of passion for me. And that passion fueled me into researching how can I get certified because I understood that I'm not surrounded by French people in India. Obviously, I have to go to Pondicherry or I have to go to a French place like Alliance Française in Chennai to meet French people. I wanted to, sort of be the cool person. If I have to be completely honest, I wanted to be the cool girl, and I wanted to make friends with, other nationalities right from very young. And I told my father this because my father has this habit of researching what are all the schools that are available in and around the area so that I can upskill. And he did that pretty much for my sister and for myself as well. And he told me there's a French school. It is sponsored by obviously the government of Tamil Nadu, and it's more like the embassy of France. And I got involved in Alliance Française, like let's say when I was 12 years old until date. So I have, kind of a long-standing relationship with them for the past 16, 17 years. And that's how I started learning. And you won't believe it, Alex. The kind of benefits that studying a language gives you is something which I'm not even able to put in words. I got invited to rooms where other nationalities are normally not invited. Because when I speak the language, I try my level best not to have the Indian accent. Because if for example, if I speak in Ukrainian, you can easily find that I'm a foreigner because I will have a knack of, an Indianness in that language. But when it comes to official languages like French, I was trained by French people and I started practicing like a native. Although now I won't say I'm like perfect, but I'm somewhere close to perfect. I won't say I'm extremely perfect. And that opened a lot of doors career-wise. Personally, I traveled places because of my language expertise. I still do, like I live in Dubai and I meet Europeans on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, I interact with them. And even in my work as well, it has helped a lot because when you're surrounded by in a multicultural environment, it's not just English. They want someone who can speak their target language so that business gets easier. And it opens a lot of opportunities, networking, career opportunities, and even personal as well. Some relationships, I carry them for life. Like, I found my mentor through this language, and I still do. I make it a point to reach out to everyone authentically, and I still develop that relationship. It's because they're able to resonate closely with me because I speak their language. And that, I think, that kind of comfort will never come when you speak another language. You feel more close when someone is speaking that language, right? So it opens a lot of opportunities. So people, if you're listening, I would urge you to start, studying another language, not for any opportunities, but just to be different amongst the rest of the crowd. That does wonders.
Yes, I completely agree with that. My mother, when I was 17, and I learned English in school, but I didn't know it, frankly. So my mother took me by hand, and she studied together with me from the beginning English language. And I went to
Right.
one course and another course and another. And in 1 year, I was even in kind of a camp when we didn't have access to Ukrainian language. The person who taught us, he didn't know Ukrainian and Russian at all. We spoke Russian mostly. We spoke two languages here, Russian and Ukrainian. But
Okay.
this person, he didn't know at all. So for 7 weeks, I was 17 years old, and it was in 1991, and I was able to digest and to think in English, and it helped me a
Right.
lot. And I think another advantage of learning a new language is when you know two or more languages, you have much less chance of mental disorder in old age. So this
Yes.
research of
Yes.
this, you need, your mind is more pliable, flexible, and you can think more creatively, and you think deeper with language. So
Yeah.
what else? How many languages do you know? What else do you know?
Thank you so much, first of all, for pointing that out, because that's an amazing point. Your imagination, I think it comes from the left brain, if I'm not wrong. Or I think, yeah, it's the left side of the brain.
Yeah,
It widens your imagination.
I think that this common understanding that left brain is for mathematical, for logic, and right side is for imagination. As
Creativity.
far as I understand, as I remember.
Okay,
I
okay.
can
But
check.
I'm not quite sure exactly which part of the brain. But like you said, it's learning something new. It can be anything, right? Languages as well. It's more like an exercise to your brain, because you're stressing your brain, stressing in a good way, to make it understand and to make it think in another way. So thank you so much for giving that point. And to come back to your question, so I speak close to eight to nine languages. So Tamil, Telugu, Hindi, Malayalam, Marathi, French, little bit of Spanish, and a little bit of Italian. I'm trying to learn German as well. So that's still an ongoing journey. I won't say I'm perfect in either of these languages, but I'm good enough to communicate.
It's a great set of polyglot. You are polyglot. You know a lot. I learn different languages as well. I know a little bit of German and French, and even I took
Right.
some French lessons with Italki, and I went for half a year to some classes in French, so I can understand French, reading French, and a little bit, maybe 70% by listening to it. We went to Paris with my wife. But I went to India, but I don't understand Indian at all. So I learned Devanagari, and I learned
Okay.
the symbols. I could read, and I learned Bhagavad Gita, Sanskrit. I learned about 500 verses in Bhagavad Gita, but nevertheless,
Wow.
I was not able to understand it fully, and I understood only separate words and didn't know the conjunctions, all these difficult
Yeah.
parts. Only separate words and only how the Devanagari syllables, what they mean. So I also learned Japanese and Chinese kanji and hiragana, katakana, but they even more difficult than that.
Yeah. I mean, yes, sometimes I have to dive deep to understand what is the inner meaning of that. That's something which I think you're immensely gifted with, because you're exposing yourself to ancient mythologies and you're learning a lot. And to read Bhagavad Gita is indeed a divine feeling. You feel calmer actually when you read Bhagavad Gita, in my experience.
You see, also, as I understand this, and I realize it more and more in my life after, like, I'm 51 years old, so I went through a lot of things on the mundane part of the world, as well
I
as the
understand.
spiritual part, where I was actually a monk in a monastery for ISKCON Hare Krishna movement for 7 years.
Right.
And I got even Brahmin initiation in
Yeah.
from Guru. So I think that this experience helped you to move through your obstacles. So I want to ask you about your early education, your support from your parents, as well as your spiritual background and the cultural background. How it shaped your business relationships and further career.
See, it's an ongoing situation. It's a work in progress. I will never say that I've mastered it completely. Because when it comes to career, right, you are thrown with a lot of challenges on a day to day basis. You're never fully prepared. And in the career that I'm in, I can confidently say that you can never go by a to do list. Even if I'm so really, really prepared, there's lots of challenges. And I think single point of my life, I try to recollect the lessons that I've learned, and I try my level best to implement it. Although there are lots of situations where I couldn't do it, but I've learned to be a little bit more calmer with myself and not to beat myself up, because it's okay to make mistakes, and I feel like that relationship with myself is something which I'm really working on. I'm a hardcore perfectionist and I beat myself extremely well. I think I'm the worst critic for me. I won't even say the hard critic. I'm really the worst critic for myself. I give others a lot of empathy, but for me, I'm like, Prathiba, why did you do this? You should have done this. You messed up the calendar. You should have done this for your family. But in hindsight, when I spoke to my family members, my friends, and they say that I've done so much, I think it only reminds me that it's a work in progress relationship. So every time I face an obstacle in both my personal and my professional life, now I try to take a step back and I detach myself from the problem and I try to see how I can fix it. If it's something I can't fix it, I just go with the flow. Because at the end, like you've gone through so much in your life, and whoever it is, there is 100% success rate that you've come out of the problem. So there's no chance that you're going to come out of a problem, with 0%. So you're meant to come out of it successfully. And now I'm kind of reconnecting with myself and working on that side of a relationship. So I will not say that I've mastered it, but my spiritual side, my educational background, my relationship with my peers, my professional relationship with everyone around, whoever I'm working with, and my personal relationships, it makes me more grounded to whatever is it that I'm dealing with in my life. So, yeah.
To come to your speech on TEDx, and could you explain, like, why did there were some activities that brought you to this invitation?
Yeah.
Some publications, some, I think it's kind of blog, or what led to this success? I think that this public speaking is a lot of this level of public speech is one of the top achievements that one can set. And so, can you explain in hindsight, what led to this and what happened and about this speech as well?
Well, in a nutshell, if I have to say, I have to thank COVID. Because, COVID, the pandemic gave me a lot of time in my hands. Even during the start of the podcast as well, you remember I'm telling you about, how my family had supported me in taking part in competitions. But there wasn't a time for me when I started my work that I could choose it seriously. Of course, I had lots of work in my platter, and the only thing that I could do after finishing my work is just go home, because I was commuting for two hours, maybe 4 hours a day, just gone for commute. And when the pandemic hit, I was saving 2 hours of commute in the morning, 2 hours of commute in the evening. So it was 4 extra hours. I didn't have time to, I didn't have an opportunity to go out. It was not time to go out. I was not allowed to go out because of the COVID. And I started documenting my learnings, whatever I had done in my career. So by that time, I was actually 5.5 years into my career. And I had so much to tell, but I didn't know where to record my thoughts. So I started creating an Instagram profile, and it was very small. It was very mediocre. I used to put leadership lessons that I learned. How can you maintain your healthy boundaries with your colleagues as well as your peers, and your team managers. And I created a blog as well as I created my LinkedIn profile. I started recording everything, whatever it is. It can be small. But, you know, when I'm saying this, I have to be very honest. There were lots of people who told me I'm posting cringe content because they felt like, oh, show off. And because for me, in my head, it was not that I wanted to grab opportunities. After 5 years of COVID, I imagined this in this way. Now, COVID is happening in 2020. When I go to 2025, I want to look back at this point of my life and look at all the posts that I've created. It's more like a digital journal, if I can say it in that way. Remember, like everybody would start a profile and then halfway they would lose interest and they would not do it. But I was super consistent. So for 3 posts I was doing per week for more than 6-7 months. And after that, I was invited for my alma mater and I got invited to speak at my university. And that was something which I was really scared about because I have never gone to a place where they invited me as a chief guest. But I think the real testament to all of that was being invited by TEDx as in the category of empowered women in India. I think the first thing that caught their attention was my digital presence and how I write on social media, because at that time there were no reels. It was only IGTV, Instagram TV, as we can see, right? IG lives. I used to host a lot of lives, lot of live sessions I used to do and post it on my Instagram channel. And I think that caught their eye and they gave me an opportunity. But even in this side, I have to say that I was manifesting TEDx, but I didn't know when it would happen. It was just there on my vision board, like, I'm going to be a TEDx speaker. But I suppose the universe was very kind and it somehow played a part and I got called upon. And I feel like that was the pinnacle of everything. And after TEDx, opportunities started coming in because I had that tag of TEDx speaker. And that added more credibility to my profile. And I was invited to various stages after that. So in my public speaking journey, TEDx has definitely been a turning point in my career. So the speech that I gave was my success against all odds. So it was a speech that I wanted to give as a reflection for myself, for what all I've gone, because I didn't know what grief was. I didn't know what mental health, the term mental health, anxiety meant. But I knew that if I could at least impact one person in the room, that I'm a winner. I did not want to focus on a million people who are going to view my talk, but just one person. And the theme that they had was empowered women, empower people. So that was the theme of the event. When they spoke about me, obviously there were a couple of rounds where we had to, show them the speech and we had to practice it because it's broadcasted on a worldwide platform and it has to be perfect. When I say perfect to the T, it has to be perfect. I recorded myself on video and I just spoke whatever came to my mind. From there, I started taking in all the points. Like, I broke down my talk into 3 ways. What was the situation, what was the impact, and what do I want to convey to the audience? So when I had this mapped down, it was easy for me to pick it up and deliver it in 18-minute speech. So I think for me to deliver that speech, when you see that speech, obviously there was a point where I got emotional and I got choked up. And I felt that emotion being translated to my audience as well. That's when I realized that, okay, I've done a good job. Whether the speech hits million views or whether somebody's going to remember that, I don't mind, but I really knew that the audience grasped it, because you won't believe it, Alex. Like, it's been 3 years since I gave my speech, exactly 3 years. And I have people still coming to me and saying your TEDx speech inspired me. I think that's the best comment that you can get rather than a social media share, because to remind someone that they matter, that they are worth it, and that their struggles are nothing, because of course struggles are big, but those struggles are going to shape them into the person that they are going to become. It's more like a reminder. And I think when I was giving my speech as well, it reminded myself, like, just relax. It's okay. You've come this far. Now enjoy this moment. Because whenever I was doing something, I had this notion that I have to chase the next goal. I have to chase the next goal, the next. And I don't reflect on it. But 18 minutes of my time on that stage actually gave me a whole perspective on life, that I need to sit and I need to reflect. And it was actually the best, like one of the major, I won't say even one of the major achievement of my life, because that was the time I was able to inspire people and for me to get inspired as well. So I guess the universe played a great part in it.
So after which people come to you and they are grateful. They thank you for the impact that you made to their lives. So what kind of service? How do you help the other people? You do provide some consulting or professional
Mhm.
services to other people. Can you explain how
Yeah.
you help go on helping them?
So now when this speech came out, right, I didn't have a coaching program in my hand because I was a blogger, I was a writer. That was my tagline. I was not a communications coach. This tagline came to me only after my TEDx. So the TEDx team itself, they asked me, why can't you teach us to speak like you? And I was like, wow, I'm just doing my job. I didn't go out with a fake accent. I didn't use outlandish language, no jargons. It was just simple, plain English. And I understood that if they are coming and asking me, why not let me do a beta testing? Like give this as a free offering to a group of people. And when I did that, I understood that this is exactly what people want. And so from a writer, I transformed into a communications coach. And so I coached 2000 plus people across the globe. I coach them. If they are a fearful person, I transform them into a confident person. If they want to speak on TEDx or if they want to give a town hall speech in any of the major places, I help them, and I don't like change them into a different person, but rather I bring out the talent that they already have. So that's my key strength. And I offer one-on-one coaching as of now because, as you know, communication and personality is different for different people. So my offerings are now for one-on-one, but then again, I do coaching for a huge organization for leadership and personality development as well. So I'm open to opportunities.
How long does it take for a person to become, like the months to change, or like a year, or it depends on one's personality?
See, I cannot say an exact year because it depends from person to person. But what I've observed in these many years of coaching is people already have the skill, and what they need to work on is the mindset first. It's not even about speaking in English or speaking in French or German or whatever it is, but you need to fix your mindset. That's the root cause. And for me, I offer services where you can speak in 45 days, but I make sure that I transform my clients within 21 days itself. So 3 weeks is ideal for them to get transformed, not even 1.5 months. So I've seen my clients go from 0 to 100 in jet speed without even me being pushy. I just tell them the route and they take it from there. So I suppose I serve as a mentor, as a guiding light, and I have to give it to my clients as well because they do all the hard work and I'm just there to inspire them and to motivate them because they can do it. And it's just a little bit of motivation as well, because what happens is they believe that they can't do it. But if you keep telling people that you're worth it, you can do it, it's, a win-win for me. At the same time, it's a lot about perseverance. Do you want it? Do you really, really want it? If you want it, you'll be accustomed to working hard for it. So I suppose I bring in that discipline as well in all my clients.
Yeah, thank you, Prathiba. I think that it will be enough for just for this episode.
Тату, тату, повинен попасть в одну.
Ще?
Попасть.
Також? Ну, зараз 10 хвилин.
Hello.
So it's always kind of.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
do the same. So we have 3 of them here. So the same boy came, this one.
Yeah. I think, yes, I remember.
So Phil. Okay. Thank you for the episode, Prathiba.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you for inviting me.